What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I gotta go ahead and say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, man, I got a crazy build in store for y'all today. Now, this is actually gonna be a glass cleaning 3-point threat, but this is really going to be a catfish build. Now, with this being said, you were going to be able to equip things like the posterizer badge, get big man elite contact dunks, and this is honestly one of the most unique big man build that I have seen. Now, as far as for the offense, we're going to be very high powered, and the defense is even going to be better than most bigs. Now, as far as for the offense, this is really a heavy offensive set. For the attributes, the block is going to be the highest, and the physicals, in my opinion, I think are going to be really great. Now, for the attributes that can reach a 100 plus, that's going to be the standing dunk, 3-point, block, and defensive rebound. Now, a few NBA players that this build reminds me of is going to be Anthony Davis and NIKOLA JOKIC. Now, just from a glance, I think this is going to be a really great build all around. Especially to take into any game mode, that's definitely how I create every single build that I bring to y'all. My favorite thing about it is going to be the name, but of course, just the animations that we're able to equip. Now, I've really been focusing on big centers this year, and I just want to be sure that when I bring a build, you're getting the most as far as animations, attributes, and definitely the badges. So as far as for the build, let me know what you think right now down below. Now, to get started with this build, the first thing that we need to do is put it under the center position, and as far as for the height, we're going to go ahead and leave this at 7 feet exactly. Now, for the weight, I decided to go ahead and put this to 275. If you want to go higher than that, it's completely up to you, but the build name may change. Now, for the wingspan, to get the most out of our shooting, put this down a few ticks to 7'2". Now, we're going to be set to move forward, and I'm telling y'all, look, we have a lot of potential when it comes to Hall of Fame badges, and that's definitely something that I think everybody should be focused on. Now, if you want to make any adjustments as far as for the physicals, go ahead and do so after I recommend we creating the build together. Now, we're going to go ahead and get started with the physicals. So for the speed, I'm going to put this up to a 60. As for the acceleration, leave this at a 45. Now, for the strength, you definitely want to raise this, especially if we're going to be getting the elite contact dunk. So I'm going to go with a 90. Now, for that vertical, go with the 75, and for a build of this height, I think that's going to be a huge bonus. And as for the stamina, put this up to a 92. And right here for the build, I think we're all set to move forward. Now, definitely keep in mind the +4 that we do get from the Gatorade facility workouts. So let's go ahead and get started with the defense. On that interior, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to an 82. Now, that right there already does give us a huge boost to that defensive end. For that perimeter, leave this at a 35. Moving on to the steal, I'm going to go with a 60. Now, for our block today, I'm going to put this to a 97. And right there, moving on to the offensive rebound, put this up to a 77 as well. Now, for the defensive rebound, I'm going to go with a 93. And that right there is going to allow us to get Hall of Fame box out beast. We get Pogo Stick and Rebound Chaser. I mean, check out the badges that we're able to unlock. My favorite one for the blocking is going to be Anchor. Now, for the rest of this build, I'm telling y'all, the defense is just a small showing of what today's build is going to be able to do. Now, one thing that I did want to make sure of is that we're able to get the Interceptor badge. Moving forward, when it comes to the playmaking, I'm going to put this pass accuracy up to a 75. And as for the ball handle, if you want to, you can raise this, but I'm going to leave this as is. Now, for the badges, look, we get Break Starter, also Dimer. The rest of the badges I think are going to be important when it comes to game modes like Wreck. Even for the 3v3. Now, moving on to the shooting, I'm going to go ahead and put my mid-range shot up to a 72. As for the three-pointer, put this up to an 84. And that right there is going to really change the game for us, especially on the offensive side. Now, for the free throw, a minimum that I do like to go with is going to be a 71 for the badge free points. But as for the shooting, look, we get Claymore, Catch and Shoot. Badges that I like are going to be Deadeye, Blinders, as well as Green Machine. I think guard up and open looks is just as important. But all around, I think this build is going to be one of the best catfish and rare ones that you can make and find. Now let me know down below, what are you thinking of today's build? Which NBA player does this one remind you of? And if you're using a big man right now, what did you make to start out the year? As far as for the builds that I'm going to be bringing to y'all, you can already see just how overpowered this center is going to be. The physicals are on point, especially when it comes to badges. If you were to go back and forth ticking each and every attribute, you're going to see that I went into every single attribute and also maintain the ability to maintain the next level of badge that was able to get acquired. Now let's go ahead and get started with the finishing. So for that post control, leave this as is. Moving on to the standing dunk, I'm going to go with a 90. Now that right there did take up a lot of our overall. And moving on to the driving dunk, I'm going to go with the 73. Now as you can see already, this build is shaping out to be pretty nice. Moving on to the close shot, put this to a 61. And we do have one remaining attribute left over. You can go ahead and put this into the speed with ball. Or you can go ahead and make any adjustments to go ahead and possibly put it into the physicals or even the defensive end. Now as far as for the badges that we were able to unlock for the finishing, you're going to be able to see that, look, we get fast twitch, also pro touch. The ones that we get on bronze are important as well. Now look, we also get aerial wizard. And then for the finishing, as far as for the post scoring, we get posterizer, slithery, and bunny, precision dunker with 2-step, spin cycle. And then as for this area, the main badges that I like are going to be rise up as well as aerial wizard. Now I really think that this is going to be a good center build to use throughout the year, especially considering what this build has, the contact dunks. Even with a 40 for the ball handle, I think you're going to be able to make way and dribble throughout the year. And if you want to, you can even go ahead and try to raise your ball handle. Now let me know right now, are you going to make this build exactly how I brought it to y'all? And what would you do to make it even better from here on out? Now let's go ahead and move forward to see what we've created together. And as y'all can see, if you've took every single step of the way that I showed y'all, we should be getting these 3 comparisons. And as y'all can see, we have created the Catfish, Glass Cleaning, 3-point threat, and NBA2K24 on next gen. Now thank you so much to everybody showing your support. If you're still watching, what do you think of today's build? Especially with this kind of name, being able to posterize and get elite contact dunks, I think that that's something unheard of. Now moving forward, when it comes to this build overall, take into consideration the boost that you do get from your takeover, buying attributes as well as gear. Now I think this is going to be a dominant build in any game mode that you take it. And if you're making it yourself, you're welcome right here. I'm telling y'all, you're in store for a really great build. And before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family. And last but definitely not least, comment down TG for Thank God King Jesus and where you're tuning in from. And I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.